Welcome to the Athletes Unlimited preview show. I'm Savannah Collins.
And I'm Christina Williams. This week in AU Hoops was nothing short of exciting action with overtime gameplay, record-breaking performances, and great matchups.
And from those games, we now have 3 new captains, but 1 who remained at the top. Newcomers Nalissa Smith and Naz Hillman moved into the top 4, plus Isabel Harrison and #1 overall on the leaderboard, Odyssey Sims.
These captains come from 2 of the most winningest teams this week in Team Williams and Team Sims. Team Williams did something that was very hard to do in AU Hoops, and that is they went undefeated. Their 3-0 series led their entire squad to earn 850 win total points, and Izzy and Naz earned top spots this week.
That team was absolutely spectacular. I'll say it. I think that's the best AU basketball team I've ever seen assembled. I mean, they had everything, and they were exactly what Courtney Williams said she wanted at the draft. She wanted experience. She wanted a team that could flow together, and man, could they read. They were so exciting to see, and they did what's so hard. They went undefeated. A perfect weekend.
Absolutely, and it showed how great of a leader Courtney Williams was, and the fans got a special treat in seeing both her and Izzy reunite, and we see now that Izzy, she's at the top of the leaderboard and earned her spot as a captain this week. Let's take a look at her journey and how she ended up there. Those win points combined with Izzy's multiple MVP votes and individual performances what shot her to #2 on the leaderboard. She's earned 150 MVP points, more than any other athlete so far. Right now, she leads the league in made 2-pointers with 28 and is one of the top overall scorers.
And then you have her former Blue teammate, Naz Hillman. What's super fascinating about Naz is she doesn't lose points very often. She's super efficient. She shot 59% over Series 1. She's 3rd in rebounds, and that's just another way you can earn points without the risk of losing them. And I might add, she was my player to watch in Week 1, so I did get one of them right.
And then you have to look at Nalissa Smith's phenomenal Week 1 performance. I've been following her since her days at Baylor, and she was a #2 draft pick for a reason. She was an absolute aggressive player in the paint this week. You factor in that she had her fever teammates, and that chemistry and connection came together to help her be successful, and she was able to take on a dominant role for her team. I actually said that last week. I said that that would be the key for Team Sims to win this week was that team chemistry, and it looked like it worked.
And then you have the only returning captain and leader of the 2-1 Orange squad, Odyssey Sims. She led what was a record-breaking team. They combined for the most field goals in a game. They had 4 20-plus scorers on the same team for the first time. And then she broke records herself. As the point guard, there wasn't a statistic that Odyssey didn't excel in this past week. She currently leads the league in steals, total points scored, and that record was for the most assists in a 3-game series. She had 38.
The work that Odyssey put in the offseason was so apparent in Week 1. Now, let's take a look at the teams that these captains drafted this week. First-time captain Naz Hillman assembled a great team this week. I really like the guard play that she assembled with Alicia Gray, Ear Hearn, and Laisha Clarendon. And then you move over to the big. She took care of that early in acquiring Teresa Plaisance, who I think is going to be an X factor this week. And last week we saw that Teresa had come off the bench for Team Williams. This week I think that we can expect her to have a bigger role on this squad. And of course, Jenna Stady. I think that Week 2 will be a breakout week for her.
I agree. The guard play stands out to me about this team. And what was neat is that Naz told me that she wanted this really close friendship that she has with Alicia off the court to be established on the court. When she was in the draft room, the first thing she said when making her first pick was, "Let's make a dream team." And here's what I think was really smart that Captain Hillman did, is after game 2, she had a feeling she might stay in that top 4, so she started planning her team the night before, and I think that really paid off.
That's quite impressive, Savannah. All right, let's move on to Team Smith. Immediately when I look at this roster, I see a strong defensive team and the drafting of Veronica Burton and Crystal Bradford, a guard who can play both ends of the ball. And then you have Sydney Colson as well on this team. And I think that she will provide great leadership and be able to facilitate that offense for Team Smith.
Talking to Nalissa at the draft, she said Kelsey Mitchell was a given for her. She loves playing with a fast and efficient guard, so you're definitely going to get that in Mitchell. Plus, their teammates on the Fever. You have Avina Westbrook, who I will say, I feel like she was quietly great in week 1. Awesome stats. She was at the top of the leaderboard, but really didn't do anything to like a buzzer beater to remember, but she had a great week. This team, though, I think they're going to absolutely body people. You have Nalissa Smith, who just can work her way to the basket and is so unstoppable. Pair that with Crystal Bradford, I think teams are going to have to come up with a plan of how are we going to handle the physicality of Team Smith.
I agree with that, Saf. And let's take a look at Team Harrison. Okay, we have the hottest duo in the game returning with Courtney Williams and Isabel Harrison. And I like the fact that she drafted Natasha Cloud as well. Having Tosh at the 1 and Court at the 2, that's a backcourt that I'm looking forward to seeing.
I think sticking with Courtney was a great choice. We saw it last season that duos and those repeat people on your team can really help in comfortability and chemistry. Here's one note about this team. There's a lot of star power in this group.
Yes.
As you move through this roster, it is one stellar player after the other. What I'm most interested to see is, can they piece it together the way Team Williams did in week 1 with complete buy-in and playing as a team?
Moving on to Team Sims, she went for her guards early, and I like the repeats and Lexi Hall and Kirsten Bell. Lexi Hall's defense was really phenomenal in week 1, and she also proved that she can be an offensive threat as well.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked how late Odyssey waited to go out and get some size on her team, but I agree with you. The best defenders in the league are on this team, in my opinion, with Lexi Hull and Jordan Canada. Canada got the toughest assignment every night when it came to defense, and she really impressed me in that way. I think more than anything, this team is going to be fast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The week 2 teams are set. I think there's a lot of parity amongst these 4 teams, which means that every game this weekend could be the best matchup you see in week 2.
And I think that the athletes will definitely find their footing in week 2. Week 1, I feel like everyone's trying to get just kind of like their rhythm going. And so I think we'll definitely see people step up in week 2.
Definitely. Next, we're going to welcome on a guest to the show. We're so excited for this to bring in analysis for AU outside of just Christina and I.
I'm super excited about the next guest, Savannah, because he is a great friend to the show, and I'm just a little biased. Like he's one of my good friends too. I'm super excited about the next guest. I want to welcome in Miles Ehrlich, who is a reporter for Winsider.com. Welcome to the Athletes Unlimited pre-show, Miles.
Yeah, Miles, thanks for joining us. You had great coverage of Athletes Unlimited basketball in the inaugural season, but I'm really curious to know, things have changed. There's new additions to the roster, 23 newcomers. What has stood out to you about the style of play and competition that we've seen in season 2 so far?
It's everything that we saw last year, but turned up another level. There are veterans now that are used to being captains, that are used to the grind, that is really unlike anything that these players have done in a long time. Since so many of them have done this before, they're in a better position to both prepare themselves while also helping out the rookies, many of whom are WNBA vets. So as for the level of play, I'm still reeling from the offensive explosion we saw from Team Sims on Friday night. Those 2 teams combined for 28 makes from long range, including 6 apiece from Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Brown, and Lexi Hull. I can pretty confidently say this is the first professional basketball game where 2 people named Lexi each hit 6 threes. And then after each make, the players on court were just gassing each other up more and more. And I think that's what this league does so well. It melds the individual competitiveness with a team-centric camaraderie that just keeps the game loose, but also explosive.
Definitely. You've covered so many of these athletes before, so I kind of have a 2-part question for you. 1, what do you think it's going to take to be successful as an individual? But then what do you think it takes to be successful as a team in 2023?
Yeah, last year, Tosh Cloud said to me that this is the most fun she'd had hooping in the 8 years she's been a professional, and it really shows on the court. More than one player has said that this feels like those AAU tournament vibes that they had growing up. The same hotel, changing teams and jerseys each week, playing in front of friends and family. The competition is intense with the deeper understanding of the scoring system, of the strategy that comes along with it, but it's never mean-spirited. If a player gives a hard foul, she's usually the first one to go and help their opponent up because in a sense, they're all teammates here. And you might have played alongside that opponent last week, or maybe you'll be repping the same color after the next draft. And it just keeps the vibes kind of at the forefront. And because of that structure, I believe AU gives these players the freedom to truly be themselves on the court. Three of this week's captains are forwards, but Odyssey Sims, who's a guard, is the overall leader. So you can still put up a bunch of points without being all over the place and without being a forward, without being all over the glass. But I think efficiency is super important too. Crystal Bradford earned the fourth most points for two-pointers hit with 360, but gave back 250 of those because of missed shots. So still, individual performances can only get you so far. At the end of the day, winning is the best way to climb the leaderboard. Look at week one. The top 12 players all came from either Team Sims or Team Williams. And those 50-point quarter bonuses go a long way on top of the 150 each player earns for winning outright. So the team component is just as important, if not more so, than the individual.
You always have such great insight, Miles, and for more of his coverage of AU and beyond, you can follow him on Twitter and follow him at winsider.com.
But you're not off the hook yet, Miles. We need to know, who are your top 4 picks this week? Which athletes have caught your attention and why?
Yeah, I'm going to try not to repeat everyone that you guys have because there are so many great players to highlight. But my top one is Odyssey Sims. Like I said, she's the #1 point leader after the first week. I thought in the opening game, she forced the ball a little bit too much. She had 30 points and 12 assists, but on 28 shot attempts and 7 turnovers to go with those assists. But in the next 2 games, she averaged 21 points and 13 assists with just 2 turnovers a game. And the difference in her play really hit the scoreboard. They won just 1 quarter in the opening game against Team Williams, that overtime loss. But in the last 2 games, her squad won 7 out of 8. And that's the big difference when you're looking at the overall leaderboard. My second player is Jordan Canada. Jordan is the prototype of player that I think is great for AU. I love the aggressiveness that we've seen from her. She was unlocked like Taj Cloud's 3-ball last year. Seeing Taj Cole pick her up at half court and make her work for every inch of space on the hardwood was really a highlight for me in week 1. And Jordan didn't back it down one bit, and we really saw her play grow and grow as she got more confident. Number 3 for me, I'm surprised that we have talked more about her, but Natasha Cloud. Her roster did not get it done, so she enters week 2 ranked 22nd. But if you isolate just her individual stats, she jumps up to 11th. And I think that with Tosh, it's just that she's also the perfect ambassador for AU. She's constantly chatting up fans sitting courtside, or she's dancing when she's not playing yet. And she's always in some kind of spirited back and forth on the court with opponents, with her teammates, with the refs. Tosh takes the court with so much joy, and her positivity and charisma are just infectious. So anytime she's touching the court, she's a player to watch for me. And then my last one is Veronica Burton. She's not going to finish atop the leaderboard, but captains are really, really smart to snatch her up in the draft. Some of my favorite players to watch play basketball are the ones that love playing defense, and that's so clear to see from VB. She'll pick up full court. She'll fight through screens. She's the first one every time to hit the floor for a loose ball. And I think it says a lot that Nalissa Smith was Veronica's teammate for the first set of games, and that she made sure that she picked her up again for week 2.
All right, I had some success when it came to week 1 with my picks. I'm hoping to carry it into week 2. My first pick, Kelsey Mitchell. I love the speed that she plays with Nalissa Smith. I think they're going to do great together. She's great going downhill, and that's a duo that I hope sticks throughout this season. Second pick, Isabel Harrison. She's been in the captain's chair before. She's experienced. She knows how to manage a team, and I think if there's anyone that can balance the talent in this group, it's her. My third pick, Crystal Bradford. She's low on the leaderboard right now, but not because of her stat points. It's because she didn't pick up a lot of win points in the first week. Being on Team Smith combined with Nalissa, I think they're going to be a pair that's tough to beat in the post. And my last pick, I'm sticking with the captain, Nalissa Smith. She just showed that she's so dynamic in this league. She's difficult to defend, and if you notice, a lot of my picks are from that team, so I'm banking on Blue winning out quite a few games this week.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Savannah, on Crystal Bradford. I feel like she is someone that can climb to the top of the leaderboard if she remains consistent on the offensive side. We already know what she can do on the defensive side, and she's someone that just does what needs to be done on both sides of the floor. And then moving on to Evina Westbrook, you said that she's quietly great, and I'm going to have to agree with you on that. She had 16 points shooting, 58.3% from the field for Team Williams in that Game 3, and helped the team go undefeated. And I feel like she will help and do the same. Moving on to Teresa Plaisance. And her debut for Athletes Unlimited, she had 18 points shooting 80% from the three-point line. And this week I said that I think that she's going to have a bigger role, and so she's going to have to step up in a major way. But her versatility as an athlete is something that convinces me that she will make it to the top this week. And lastly, Lexi Hall. She has been a breakout star in week 1, and I definitely think that she will carry that momentum into week 2. Again, we mentioned that duo with Odyssey Sims, and I love to see them back together again. She's just going to have more of a well-rounded game in week 2. So those are my 4.
Okay, Christina, I know that every moment counts, but I think there are some that we remember a little bit more than others.
Oh, for sure. One moment that really sticks out to me is Melissa Smith's buzzer beater. Let's take a look at it.
Gets it to Smith. Smith, pull up 3 to beat the buzzer. Hello, Melissa. She's got 21.
Trailing by 3 points, Melissa Smith pulled up for a 3-point shot over Harrison to send the game into overtime. And she finished that game with a double-double, 21 points and 10 rebounds.
My memorable moment of the week was Team Cole versus Team Sims. This game broke so many records, including the single game combined threes record amongst the two teams. Together, they hit 28 three-pointers in Friday night's opener, and Team Cole had 15 of those themselves for the Athletes Unlimited single game record. And what we can both agree on is that Team Williams was the moment in week 1.
What the fans didn't get to see was all of the fun they had. Their chemistry was truly unmatched.
I am so sad to see that team go. I got attached in just 3 games, so that's the beauty of AU. They'll be a new favorite in week 2.
And, you know, what Courtney put together in week 1 was super special. It just exuded her leadership and, like, her excellence on and off the court.
She killed it as a first-time captain. So the last thing we have for you is a sneak peek of some content that was recorded in week 1. We had digital creator B. Terrell come to Dallas where there's great food. So we're going to give you a taste of this new segment while the athletes had the taste of some restaurants. Check it out.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy B. Terrell, and I'm coming to you live from my workshop. But seriously, thank you, Savannah and Christina, for the opportunity to come on this week's show and just to talk about what you're going to be seeing over the next few weeks. It's the Tasty Challenge with B. Terrell. What I did was, everybody knows I'm a foodie, so while we were in Dallas, I went to a few local restaurants and brought that dining experience to the AU stage. I came up with 3 categories: something sweet, something savory, and something to wash it all down. I found competing items at these restaurants for every category and wanted to have a little taste off, a little taste challenge with the AU players. We got some amazing reactions, and the food was good. I was down there dining on everything. I was just nibbling and bitten on everything. What's going to be my favorite category? You know what? I'm going to let y'all be the judge of that once you see the full video. But stay tuned because here's a little snippet. Hold on. Oh, she need another piece. Uh-oh. Is that one of the ones that sneak up on you? Okay.
And Sav, I truly think that B. Terrell's secret stuff was the key to Team Williams going undefeated last week.
A little extra sauce?
A little extra sauce.
And the mac and cheese, maybe?
Or the cookies,
Thank you so much for tuning into the preview show. It is almost game time. Team Smith versus Team Harrison is starting off this series.
You can watch all of the action this week on WNBA League Pass.
We're going to send it over to Cindy and Cheryl for coverage.